how we know each other.
Okay. All right.
And we are live.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
So Kamden, we were, thank gosh, Kamden's technically smart, and I laugh at myself all the time. When I was little, I used to always tell my mom or make fun of my mom and dad when they would ask me for help with the VCR. And I was always like, God, they're so old. Like, they don't know anything. And now every time I get on a computer or my iPhone or anything technical, I'm like, kids, Kamden, fix it. I don't know.
It's always the kids that come to the rescue.
So
it is so true.
It's funny. But go ahead, introduce yourself, Ryan. I'd love for Kamden to get to know you. I know Kamden very well. Kamden's actually my cousin.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I've
geez, I don't know. What do you want to know about me? I'm just a person here. No. I'm just a person. You're the spotlight today. You're the important one today. I'm just a guy sitting here on the on one of the screens. So a little bit about me. I run a payment processing company, and then I also have a few other ventures that I'm involved in. But for the most part, I've been in the payment processing industry since 2005, and that's really what I do. We do processing for the cannabis industry for a lot of different high risk industries. I'm just now launching a brand now that's going to be centered on really cool technology that we have, including moving into crypto payments. So that will be coming very soon. And honestly, I think that's going to be a big future. I'm not going to say it's the future. I don't think crypto is ever going to replace fiat, but it's going to be a big part of our future. So I've got some technologies that I'm going to start deploying out, and that's me. That's me.
Okay.
How about you? So now you're the spotlight here. I'm sorry that everybody's seen my ugly mug for months. So I'm old news here, Kamden. I'm old news. The reason people are going to be listening today, I can assure you, it's not because of anything I'm going to say today. It is 110% because of Kamden. So we're really excited to have you on today.
Awesome. So yeah, speaking of spotlight, I'm actually in one of our studios right now. I guess to give you a little intro. So I work for a company called Results Imagery. We're a media company that specializes in photography and video production. And we work with brands anywhere from first-time Amazon sellers all the way to major brands like 5 Hour Energy, Roku, Nabisco, and a little bit of everybody in between. So right now I'm in one of our photo studios. So speaking of spotlight, there's a bunch of props. Where are we? Right behind me. I can show you one of our light boxes, or in our studio. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on back here. But so I'm the director of partnerships here at Results Imagery. So I'm working with these first-time Amazon sellers, working with these big companies, as well as marketing agencies that need content, they need media for their clients. And so that's kind of an intro about me. I wanted to start off with a video of our founders. And actually, before I do that, let me just go on screen share. Is that cool?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you just a list of what we offer. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Oh, yeah. No, I can't. We can't see it.
Not yet. No.
Add it really quick.
Okay.
There it is.
Perfect.
Okay. You got it?
Yep.
Okay. All right. You guys got that on your screen?
Yep.
I do.
So this is us, Results Imagery. This will just give you a brief overview of services that we offer and give you a better idea of what we do. So yeah, we're a media development agency, mostly working in the e-commerce space. As you know, e-commerce has been booming, especially with the pandemic. It's kind of like a gold rush of people going to e-commerce, selling online. I think it's, I'll talk about that later. I'll just jump in here. So yeah, some of our clients here, Roku, GoDaddy, Nabisco, 5 Hour Energy, Chomps, which is a beef jerky brand.
Tell them to send some our way.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, it's always nice when the clients say, "Oh no, go ahead, keep the products, try them out." Perfect. Okay. So there's just quite a little bit of information here. I can figure out a way to share this with you guys if anybody wants to see it. But here's some quick stats that we came up with. So 75% of online shoppers rely on product photos when deciding on a potential purchase. A good example of this is like you see a really cool photo on Amazon of a product you want, and you get that product and it's not anything like the photo. That's just one example, but I mean, imagery is everything online. That's the credibility of your brand. That's what's going to drive people to purchase your product because they trust the photos that you have. They trust your brand. 22% of returns occur because the product looks different in person. That's just what I said, right? Like a good example of that is we bought a gong for the office. So whenever we close a big client or finish a big project, we'll hit the gong, right? So we got this gong online and it looked like this big thing, but when we got it in the office, it's this tiny little desk gong. And so we always joke about that because, you know, it's this dinky little gong, but you know, online it looked like this massive thing. So that's kind of what that statistic is talking about.
I want to say something real quick. You and I talked about this previously, right before we came on, or last time we were on the phone, that when you mention, you know, it's kind of like the gold rush. And I say all the time, I'm going to switch this so that we can talk real quick. But when people want to sell something, I'll use this PPE or CBD as an example, right? People want to put something online and sell it. And just because everybody else is buying it doesn't mean your product is going to be found online or purchased off of online. I explain it like if somebody, just because you made it online, it's like putting your product in the store, but it's in the very top shelf in the way back. And without imagery and without someone to see your product, right, nobody's shopping for it. And you said something that really stuck is like, people are shopping with their eyes. I mean, they're just looking at that picture. Immediately, you either buy it or you don't. And then your return and your return buys and the quality, you know, your reviews come with, does it match what it actually is? And does it look the same? And then does it actually work? And so I think that there's a lot of value for people to understand that just because you're buying something and you have a good product and now you've put it online doesn't mean now that it's marketable or being seen and purchased, right? And so I hear a lot of people say, well, we're online now, and so now it's just going to sell.
Yeah, and we've talked before about just the overall customer experience and how important that is. And your branding, the packaging certainly goes into play with the customer experience. And knowing that you work with people that are selling on Amazon, how many times do you sit there and scroll through Amazon? Because what you're looking for the picture of the product that catches your attention, that says, I want to click on this and look more into this. But how many of those pictures are you just scrolling past? I do it all the time. And so to your point, Mandy, is, you know, there's so many things at play when it comes to marketing, but packaging is huge. And then you got to get the impressions out there for people to see. You got to be doing the marketing the right way and catching people's attention, because if you don't catch their attention within the first second or two, they're gone, right? And so I love what you do, and I'm very curious on something, because you've got some very big name brands that you're working with. I would love to learn, how did you get into those brands? How long have you guys have been in business? How did that all happen for you to get to where you're at, to be so successful?
So Results Imagery has been around for about 3 years. And really a lot of these big brands are coming inbound. They're coming to us. And that's just a matter of really good SEO, really good, just a big online presence with digital marketing. And yeah, it's awesome that a lot of these big brands are coming to us. So, and then once they get to our website, it's great that we have a portfolio that can back it up too. So we have the credibility. We're really great at what we do. We have a great creative team. So yeah, that's how we got those bigger ones. Yeah. So
now, what would you say drives a lot of those leads? I mean, obviously SEO does some. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kamden, because I don't know much about it, but for a lot of the businesses that might be listening here, yes, SEO is important, but we also know SEO is more of a long-term play in a marketing strategy. You're not going to get immediate results. It's months down the line. Mm-hmm. So you had mentioned digital marketing. Yeah. I'm under the belief that if somebody is putting out good content, and especially good images and short videos, social media is the best place for leads. And depending on the type of company you are, it could be LinkedIn, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook. I've talked to some people that say, I get 100% of my leads from Instagram. That's all I do. And then I talk to others that say, you know what, LinkedIn is the best place for me. Facebook is great for ads, but I would love your opinion on this and what you see each of those social media platforms being beneficial and for who.
And maybe this is where we should let you finish your presentation before we interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Yes, probably.
You want to go? If it's all in your presentation, we'll totally stop and just let you start because
okay. To touch on that, our marketing guy is in control of all of that, but we advertise on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. It's a combination of all of these, as well as ads on Google and Bing. So it's just a big combination. So I can't say one is the best over the other. We're getting leads from each platform. But I think for us, just from a visual aspect, we get a lot of value from Instagram, especially just because our portfolio is on there. We can choose which ad we want to show with which picture or video. And like you're saying before, or I was saying, people shop with their eyes, and if they're scrolling through Instagram and it doesn't catch their eye, they're going to keep scrolling. I mean, there's just so much content on social media. Like, you have to have something that grabs people and stops them in their tracks and says, hey, that's cool. I want to click on this and learn more about the company and this photo or this video.
Well, and sometimes I don't even know. You were showing me some pictures that I don't even think I was stopped by what's on the picture as much as the way the picture was displayed and set up, right? It's so much more than just a picture of a box of CBD oil or a picture of a product. It's everything that went with it. And I know you've got some really good examples, and somebody just made a really good comment that I think just goes back to the value of why having original content that we're putting out is so important. But we used a lot of stock photos for our software website. It's shocking the number of times you've seen the same photos everywhere else representing the same products, right? Exactly. And I think people are catching on to that, and they know that. And so even more advice to people that are really getting into business, that are looking to scale original content, and having the photography is critical. It's the hardest part for me to get out, I'll be honest, because I'm not good with the phone, and I hate selfies. Well, I shouldn't say that out loud because I've got a lot of them. But I'd love to finish here. I'd love for you to show your pictures and kind of show what you do and kind of talk about why pictures are what they are and where your company is.
Of course. Yeah, that slide deck all right. I'll skip those stats and just start off with the services that we offer. So you guys can see this okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So here's Chomps, beef jerky company that we work with. So product on white, one of the main services that we offer. It's all about lighting. It's all about placement of the product. Pretty much product on white is pretty simple, but there's a lot of people that mess it up just based on the lighting and placement and touch-ups that you have to do in post-production if there's any reflections or scratches on the product, things like that. So pretty straightforward here, product on white, but especially for Amazon, the very first listing image on Amazon, which they call the hero image, it's required that it has to be on white, or else you can get flagged and they can take your post down. So product on white is huge, and there's companies out there that specialize just in product on white. But this is one of the services that we offer, and especially a lot of Amazon clients, they need product on white photography. So yeah, these are great for listing images. You know, simple, no distractions, focuses on the product, pretty straightforward. Lifestyle photography. So I always get asked, what's the difference between lifestyle photography and creative in studio? And I'll get to creative in studio in a sec. But lifestyle photography is really just with or without models, showing the product in use in its intended environment, to give the customer a better idea of what that product's going to look like when they get it. So it could be some bed covers. So a lifestyle photo would be in a bedroom, you know, with nice decor, showing the bed set up with the covers on it. In this case, I can't remember which brand this was, but you know, showing the bag in use, people enjoying it on a hike. So that's lifestyle photography. And then in studio creative, these are a lot of fun. And in this case with 5-Hour Energy, they give us some direction based on what's coming out, what kind of vibe they want, if there's anything big coming up that we want to convey in the photo. But this is where we can get really creative. So this will be done in studio with props, different colors and lighting. And I actually have a really good example of this too that I'll show you later with a CBD company that we've worked with. But in studio is super fun. It allows us to get creative, but I get that question all the time. What's the difference between in-studio creative and lifestyle? And this is the best way to show it, really. It's like in the studio, close up, focusing on the product. You're really telling a story when you're shooting a photo. And so if this flavor is Tropical Burst 5-Hour Energy, we want to show that by being somewhere tropical on a beach with some sand. You know, there's a pineapple in the background and a seashell. So it's super fun, and it allows you to tell a story. Stop motion animation, we get a lot of engagement from, or our clients tell us that they get a lot of engagement from these. So there'll be a number of frames, 10 to 20 frames of photos that we piece together. Yeah, lifestyle videos. So video production, super fun as well.
I want to learn a little bit more about that. Stop motion. Yeah.
Yeah, I can show you an example.
Does it look kind of choppy, like robot-y when it's
kind of choppy, like okay. Let's use this example for Stallmates. Stallmates, they're a bathroom wipe, but let's use this as an example. So we would take multiple frames of photos of her, let's say taking one of the packages out, opening it up, and whipping open the wipe. But that would be shown in a series of photos, and I can show some examples later. But
I know what you're talking about now. I really like this style. I just didn't know what it was called, and I wanted to connect them.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Lifestyle videos. These are super fun as well. We just did a shoot last night, and it's always fun to be on the set, watching our creative team do what they do best, and see what the behind the scenes look like. So they're not cheap, but they're gonna bring a lot of value to your brand and be able to tell your story, close-ups of your product, things like that. So I'd love to show some examples, but just wanted to give everyone a better idea of what we can do. So brand documentary videos, again, telling your story, your vision, pretty straightforward stuff. But yeah, that's it for our services offered, but just wanted to give everybody a better idea of what we do.
I'd love to see some samples sometime. I think that, even more, it's important that your story, even in this industry, even down to the construction, I can't tell you the number of people that I've met that have created some of the most amazing things, and their website is like a 2-sentence domain holder. I mean, there's no imagery, right? And it's often like that. There's another gentleman that I've been listening to often that advises about the pandemic and has spent his whole life studying pandemics and vaccines and supply chains. And his image on LinkedIn or in his website does not at all show or demonstrate his skill, right? And so I think that it again comes back to the. I just got distracted. I want to say hi to David. David's on. Hello, David. I'm glad that you're watching, because this is in David.
This is your wheelhouse.
Yes,
for sure.
He's been in marketing and is very passionate about helping us grow this association and really just the message around industrial hemp.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit, Kamden, about how did you get into the cannabis or the CBD space, and what's the difference in imagery or some of the challenges that you see in that, specific vertical compared to some of these others? Or is it really your industry you're not seeing much of a difference?
So we have a couple different CBD clients. We don't work with just CBD. We work with literally anybody. But just from what I'm seeing in the CBD industry being so competitive, you can get white label products, slap your brand on it. But if you don't have high quality media, how are you going to stand out? So that's what I'm seeing is you really need to establish your brand through media, because there's a million CBD products out there. Who knows what's what? You need to be able to tell the story of your brand, and that's what's going to help you stand out. I think so many people think, it's not just CBD, but if you're starting a company, so many people think you can source a product and get it from China or wherever, but if maybe they didn't think about marketing or media, but when that comes into play, it's like, okay, I need to spend X amount for marketing, but it's like, oh wait, I actually need content to use for marketing. And I think, especially because we work with a lot of smaller companies, a lot of mom and pops, like I don't think they understand that needs to be, it just needs to be part of their business plan in order to grow. And otherwise you're just going to sink, and it's unfortunate, but media is huge.
Do you have,
sorry.
I was just going to ask, do you have any maybe a few specific examples on mistakes you see people commonly make when it comes to their branding or their marketing?
Yeah, that's a good point. I was actually thinking about this morning, and I wanted to go through some CBD Instagram pages and kind of analyze their content. But I was thinking this morning, like, you have to have a theme. It has to be, well presented. It has to be catchy. So speaking to a mistake, like I was thinking, I see a lot of smaller companies, let's say they post a meme, right? And memes are awesome. Everyone loves memes, but if it doesn't resonate with your brand and your overall theme of your social marketing media, I mean, I see that as a mistake. I mean, it can go both ways, but that's just an example I was thinking of. Also, if you're a smaller brand and you're on Instagram, don't post personal pictures, right? Like that should be a no-brainer, you would think, but I think a lot of people starting out, let's say a guy's making hot sauce, Bill's hot sauce, and he posts some pictures of hot sauce with his iPhone, but he also posts pictures of his dog and his trip to the beach. That's cool, but you can't be doing that. Your content needs to be flush. It needs to be consistent. It really needs to have a theme to it. So,
well, yeah, and to that point too is what a lot of people may not realize is you can have your personal Instagram, but then you can also have your professional one as well. And so on your professional one, most certainly you want to keep that consistent and keep the branding and the story consistent throughout. If they want to do that on their personal side, great. That's because even on your personal, social media, it is a live resume that's ongoing. And so by posting those pictures on your personal one, you're creating your resume, right? You're creating your story throughout. But when it comes to your business, and I think from what I've seen is sometimes people mix the two where they got to separate them out.
Yeah, I like what you said, a resume of your content. I like how you said that. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah. Speak about memes, though. There's actually a couple of companies that come to my head that are doing really well with memes. And of course, their target audience is going to be younger people. But the two that come to mind are Denny's and Slim Jim. I don't know if you guys have seen their Instagrams. We can pull it up, but it's like they're doing a fantastic job at memes, and it's obvious like they're going after a younger audience, and in that case it works.
I'm very curious now. So now I got to look it up because I have not ever seen that.
Do you want me to screen share?
Can. Yeah.
And, someone said Wendy's is savage on Twitter. Yeah. And that stuff is fun. That makes you connect with a brand and a company.
Well, Kamden, you kind of know a little bit about the association, right? I want to pick your brains for a second and where we're headed and what audience we're serving on a big scale, and knowing hemp is in everything, right? There's a lot of sectors that we could go after, from housing to textiles to tech, and innovation and STEM and women in STEM. And I really believe, giving the industrial hemp to our youth, they'll innovate and come up with all kinds of things, right? So when we talk as an association, a global association that services the most diverse crowd, I'm interested in learning or hearing from you where you think our audience and what our imagery needs to look like. If you don't mind giving me a little bit of counsel or give us a few points, or think about it and maybe at the end share it.
Yeah. I mean, you just mentioned so many industries within the CBD industry or hemp industry. I think just showing some visuals of what you talked about, whether that's textiles or food and beverage, of a good visual from each industry. I mean, yeah, we can talk later about that.
Yeah, I'm just curious, knowing that you're in this, and maybe as you stay involved, as you and I continue to communicate, I'd be interested in just what that really looks like and what you're seeing out there, because it's such a new industry. It's not what's been out there before. I mean, there's really not any evidence to, hey, this works in this industry specifically. So yeah. Anyways.
Awesome. Were we did we still want to look at some Instagram?
Yeah, I have another.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Rick just chimed in too. What's the best way to handle haters on your website? Wendy's took a refreshing approach a while back and stopped cowering down to them. Interested in your thoughts.
It's a good question.
Dave Politis, I'd love to have Dave.
I remember right. Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying I'd love Dave Politis, if he's still listening, to chime in on this, because I think it's an interesting. I don't until about a week ago didn't have a Twitter. I'm embarrassed to admit that, but I didn't, so I don't know. But yeah, and I'm the same. I still don't, but I keep thinking I probably ought to add Twitter. But I also think that it's a change. There's one thing we've tippy-toed around for a long time about our message and our value and what we stand down to. And a lot of things have been normalized because more people are doing it, or accepted because more people are doing it. But accepting or when it becomes a common thing doesn't make it right or wrong, right? It doesn't change where they stand in their values or their morals. And so sometimes I think that standing up and making that change is what creates the interest and the drive, especially in marketing, right? It's creating a a buzz around the conversation, and sometimes the hard stop or the loud noise is however you want to call it, right? The diverse conversation, the edgy marketing. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense? I feel like I've lost both of you. Rick? David? Anyone?
Bueller.
Yeah, I just feel like sometimes it's good, and sometimes I guess I'm answering back to Rick on what thoughts are. I really think that part of it's good. When you've got haters on your side, or when you've got bad things coming in, standing up to them or holding your ground, and there's a tactful way to do it. And I think that, obviously if Wendy's is an example of something that's made change or buzz.
Yeah, and I look at that thought as well. Certainly if you try and defend yourself in it, then I don't think you're going to go anywhere with it. Sure. Sometimes you need to, and this is more on a sell side. If you think about how to sell, when you have somebody questioning what you are trying to sell, or trying to tell you, maybe something is bad, or they disagree, whatever the case is, the first thing you need to do in that situation is acknowledge what they are saying. And then you have to shift the story that is being told, right? But if you don't acknowledge them first, then all they're going to want to do is continue being combative, or keep questioning you, because they don't think that you're listening. They don't think that they're being heard. So acknowledge them first. So if you have a hater, acknowledge them. That's fine. Everybody has the right to their own opinion, right? Acknowledge what they're saying. You don't have to agree or disagree with them. But now you can say, well, I acknowledge you here. However, let's look at it this way, and shift it so it's not trying to be combative with them, but shift it in a way so that you can now continue on with what your objective is, and what your points are. But really, when you're talking about in any type of sell or a hater, you want your customer, or you want the person on the other end to go through a series of steps to understand what you're taking them through. And in this case with the haters, acknowledge them, point out a couple different viewpoints on it, point out a different direction, and maybe they will come back around and acknowledge what you're saying, even though at the end of the day, you might just have two different opinions and you're not going to get anywhere with that, right? But to me, that's more of on a sales side, and a sales approach that you would want to take with somebody that's a hater. Now, if they're trollers and they're haters, block them, right? We've had that too on here on social media, and that happens a lot.
Rick said it well, that Wendy's was able to get the people involved and deliver a message that then their audience agreed with and was persuasive, right? So I think that this speaks to the hemp and cannabis industry. And Kamden, Rick, by the way, would be a great contact for you. He's brilliant in the marketing space and in this space. And by the way, hi, Rick. I'm glad to see you on here. It's been a long time. But in this industry, it's so much about the message and the story. I can shove down somebody's throat all day statistics about why they should use hemp, or why they should be growing hemp, or why they should do this, or why they should invest. And reality is if it doesn't resonate with what they're passionate about, who cares? They're not going to buy. And it really, when I talk to people, it's kind of hard in this, we have such a broad platform that covers so many things, from plastics to health and wellness, to all of these, different industries. And when somebody comes to me and says, hey, I'm really interested in getting involved, I have to do a lot of discovery, because there is so much education that has to happen in delivering the message about what AHA is, and what is available out there, and what really needs to happen compared to what they know. Because really, a lot of what people know is just the CBD and hemp, or CBD and cannabis, or health and wellness, right? Mm-hmm. So in the message and delivery of the message, I agree. But okay, now back to your Twitter pages or your
back to you,
because I really want to see them.
Yeah.
Yep, I do too.
I'll admit it, I'm not on Twitter either, but you know,
Right,
once you have all these channels, you get distracted. I spend enough time on Instagram. It's like I don't need another distraction, to be honest. So
and that's the hardest thing with the different social media platforms is you could spend all of your time on just one of them.
Yeah.
And how many are there out there, you know? It's
overwhelming.
It is.
Yeah. But to that point, as a brand, you should be on all of them, you know, to capture all of those. I wouldn't say put all your eggs in one basket with one platform. But yeah, did we want to check out the Wendy's? Yes. And okay, Wendy's Instagram?
Would love it.
Yeah, I'd love to see some of these. I find myself at night when I'm on my Instagram or social medias searching for news about hemp. So I miss all the fun stuff, like Wendy's.
Let's start with Denny's.
Yeah,
I just think it's hilarious what they're doing. So they're not really doing memes. Well, they're doing some memes, but I just think it's hilarious what they're doing, like taking their products and showing them in a new way, getting really creative, like something you wouldn't expect from someone like Denny's, right?
Right.
You know, pancake shoes, like it's funny, and it's supposed to just be fun. It's not anything serious, and this is just a good example. Yeah, exactly. So you know, if you're interested, you can check that out later. But who's another one? Slim Jim. Slim Jim's doing a really good job, and they're engaging with people on social media as well. They'll comment. You know, they're super engaging, and people like that.
So looking at these two different strategies, I would love your opinion on each one of them. I mean, the Denny's was very creative using their product, the pancake shoes. I saw one on there with a piece of bacon riding a horse. You know, I mean, they're getting very creative. This is a little bit different approach, right? I'd love to have you maybe critique it or just give some of your thoughts and opinions on the difference of them and why somebody might take one of these approaches over another.
That's a good question. I mean, companies now have full-on positions dedicated to social media management and posting the content. So I'd love to pick someone's brain that does that. But I mean, memes are just funny, right? I mean, they make you laugh. You know, I was thinking the other day, like, how would you describe a meme to someone that you don't know? And really, it's like, I don't know. What would you guys say? What is a meme?
A comic square.
Yeah, it's a flash comic.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Okay. So I think my mom was asking me, she's like, what's a meme? Like, how do you describe that to someone who's never seen one or doesn't know what it means? So
you say, hey, remember when you used to get a newspaper, and every Sunday morning when you got your newspaper, what did you do? You went to the Archibald comic, or you went to the Denzel Menace comic, right? If you just took one of those panels, one of the squares, and put it up, that's what it is. The one that really hit that joke home, you know. But that's what it is, I guess. Maybe that's the easiest way to tell an older person.
I heard him just call your mom old.
Sorry about that. Older people,
my mother's
elderly people.
My mother is a saint.
I love it. So Justin wants to know, Kamden, do you have any horror stories about what not to do? And then I want to see some pictures to kind of explain what I was talking about earlier about how the picture itself, you sent me some product that wasn't on white that was really awesome. I'd love to show those off.
Yeah, I'll share some past client work with you. But as far as what not to do, especially if you're, I guess for anything, I mean, I kind of touched on this before, just using your camera phone and one, taking personal pictures, two, taking low quality pictures. Invest in a camera, right? Like the cameras on our phones are great, but this is a personal computer, basically. Like you have to find someone, or you have to get a real camera that's going to take some real quality photos, learn a little bit about photography, learn about the lighting and the depth of field and composition and everything like that, and put some time into it, because that's your brand right there, is the quality of your media. So as far as what not to do, I would say avoid Photoshop. Avoid personal photos. Get creative, get professional. If you're not creative, source it out to a company like Results Imagery. We'd love to.
Now, what about, I mean, there's, and maybe for a place for somebody to start, because maybe somebody doesn't have the budget to hire like you guys out to help them out. But where would be a good place to start? I mean, I know in the past I've even used Canva a few times to create something, and there's other similar products like that. But if somebody is low on budget and trying to get started, and to your point with a good camera, you can go on to Amazon and get a decent camera for a few $100s. You don't need an expensive Nikon camera that the body is $5,000 alone. Then you have to buy a lens. You can do it on a budget. But what would you suggest for somebody that might be a little bit more on a budget, just getting started?
Definitely. I would say take a look at some of the competitors in your space that are doing media well and study it. So, study the lighting or the colors that they're using or the scenes that they're in, the settings, and see if you can recreate that. Just practice, even if it's with your phone. Just understand, take note of the lighting and all these different aspects that go into a good photo, and just practice. See if you can recreate that photo. And I think over time you'll just eventually pick up on these things, and your eye for photography will just get better. And I think the camera phones, they take amazing photos. They really do. And I think you can get away with posting social media content or content for your website with iPhones. It's not ideal, but I think it can be done. But I think really just studying what good photography looks like and really just get an idea, especially if from competitors in your industry, and try and recreate that.
Well, I think that there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said for a company like yours that can really pick up at any place, right? If somebody wants to reach out to you, Kamden, and kind of figure out where they're at as far as their product, they have a product, they're ready to launch it, or they know that they're ready to grow their brand but aren't sure where they fit in, what does that look like? Do you guys do consults? Can they reach out to you directly, in the contact at Results Imagery email and request a consult, or what does that look like?
Yeah, 100%. So even though I'm in sales, I really think of myself as an advisor. Yeah. So if they have an Amazon listing and they say, hey, I want to update my media for my Amazon listing, I want to see that Amazon listing. I want to see what they have currently. And we'll take a deep dive into their competitors and look at what they have, see how we can do it better or different. So either do it better or maybe highlight a feature about their product that their competitors aren't highlighting and really help them stand out. So, if we're going to be consulting, it's more so like, I would love to.
Anything on where to go.
Yeah. It's more so like, if you want to work with us, we'll help you along the way, but we're going to need a commitment from you.
Absolutely. Rick has a really good comment here. With 97% of all consumer sales coming from companies under $1 million annually in sales, and the largest player in having 1.6%, he is so good with stats, 1.6% share currently. And the top two things, what are the top two things you recommend to these small companies that are usually tight on capital to invest in their brand first, B2B and now B2C?
Where'd you get this stat, Rick? I'm just kidding. I need to read over this again. Okay.
What are the top two things that you recommend to these small companies that are usually tight on capital? Where do they invest their money first?
B2B for now, not B2C. Where would I recommend they invest their capital first? I think it totally depends on the company and where they're currently at. I feel like that's kind of broad. I don't know. What does that mean to you guys?
I mean, honestly, when I look at that, to me, everything in your company is going to start with your branding and your story, right? Because if your brand is correct and your story is good, it will sell. If your branding is poor, you're not going to get people that are going to, click on your images, click on your impressions. And that goes to say with packaging as well, like we had talked about before. If your packaging isn't consistent with your branding, or if it doesn't, it has a very poor quality feel to it, then I think people are just going to skip over you. And I'd love to use the example for Apple, because in my opinion, Apple is still the best in the market out there. The experience you have when you open an Apple product is by far better than anybody else, in my opinion. Now, there's a lot of companies that are starting to mimic it and doing the same thing. And I'm very impressed when I see that. So for example, I purchased an Oculus Quest not too long ago, and when I opened it, the packaging was very good. The way that they wrapped everything was very good, and Apple started that trend, right? And so earlier I had talked about the overall customer experience. The customer experience really starts with how you're branding. Then it moves into what your story is, what your packaging is, what the look and feel is when a customer receives your product or service. And then the unfortunate thing is you can have a really, really good product, but if you skimped on everything before, mentally people aren't believe that product is elite. On the flip side, somebody could have a lower quality product and have really good branding and packaging, and emotionally people will believe that product is better than the other, so much in sales comes into our emotional reaction, and honestly it's our emotional reactions that push us to purchase, right? It's one of the motivating factors is what are the emotions at play. And so the way I would answer this question, I know I've rambled on, is to start, it goes into what Kamden, what you guys do really well. Get your branding right. Do your research. See what other people are doing. See how they're doing it. See what colors, see what fonts they're using, see what images they're using. Get your brand consistent with what is really working out there. Get that branding right, and then start moving to, okay, now what is that story I'm going to tell people so that they will follow me, so that they will click on my images and my impressions and buy, right? So, and then you just keep going down the line. That's my response.
Yeah, I definitely think that understanding what your buyers want and connecting with them, right? And in order to do that, Kamden, you made a point earlier, depending on, say, Denny's, if they're going after a younger crowd, they're building their media and their content around where their audience is. We're not trying to pull other people along to us. I want to meet them right where they're at, right? If the innovators of hemp or tech are younger generations, I'm not going to be posting boring government articles that they're not going to read. I'll be posting memes, right, about things they're passionate about. And so I think Rick did sum it up for us in the sense that when we talk B2B and these companies are not in a position to make a mistake, their story has to be told through their branding and their marketing and their imagery, right? You've said over and over again, people buy with their eyes. And with their emotions, and how do you catch them? And what is the stat, if you know it, I don't know, of how long do people have? How long do you really have to sell your product?
Like scrolling through Instagram, for example.
Yeah.
Seconds, really seconds. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I just scroll. If something catches my eye, I'll stop. But it's just so quick, one after another after another.
And I would even say it's less than seconds. It's even less than a second because you're scrolling,
Yeah.
And you're just trying to get something to catch your attention.
Yeah, just dopamine feeding straight to your brain, just scrolling through it. Yeah, find that next piece of content.
Isn't it sad that now we are addicted to going like this with our thumb? It's an addiction. It really is, because we are constantly looking for that next thing to give us that little bit of dopamine high, right? We're looking for that impression that's like, hey, stop and look at me. It's an addiction. It's really sad.
It is.
But we all do it. We all do it.
I think as humans evolve, I think our thumbs are just going to get massive from just yeah.
No.
But I would love to share some examples from a CBD company we work with, Cushy CBD. We did a lot of creative and studio stuff with them, and so I just want to go over their portfolio and show you guys what that looks like. So I'm going to hit share screen here.
Well, and I was going to say, what I like about these, Kamden, is it attracts a very unique audience. You were just talking about how your dopamines and how you get excited about what you see. This is a perfect example, and it's exactly what I think of when I think like it's a stopper on when you're scrolling. Every single one of those images is like it'll stop.
Exactly. Okay, sweet. So I'm going to share here. Let me know if you guys can see this.
You're in.
Okay, so Cushy CBD. So when you're scrolling through and you see something like this, hopefully it would catch your eye. I mean, just looking at this visually, there's bright colors, pink and purple and blue. You have that smoky effect. It's just a cool photo. And as I scroll down here, let me know if you want me to stop, but these are just fun and eye-catching with the bright colors, the contrast that you get from the black background to the color of the product being pink and blue. So just playing with some different colors there. Using some props here.
I like the CBD tincture. You see a lot, just a boring bottle or a lot of neutral colors, or it's very different from the typical photography I see of CBD tinctures and CBD products. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is earlier you had shown product on white. This is a very different approach. Like you said, they're using all the bright colors with the black background, but it's working for them. And I think most importantly, they're keeping it consistent. And it's really eye-catching because we're naturally attracted to bright colors, and that's exactly what they're giving us here.
Exactly.
What's their message? Do you mind me asking, maybe, what's their message when they came to you guys and said, okay, we want to create these photos, we're targeting, where's your direction, I guess, given to the style or type of photo you're creating compared to like a natural and earthy photo? Is it based on, are they targeting a younger generation, or how did you guys collaborate to decide that?
So Cushy CBD, they were a client before I joined the company, so I can't speak to them specifically, but a lot of the bigger companies that we work with, they have specific brand colors or fonts or themes. So a lot of these bigger companies we work with pretty in depth to understand that overall theme. And so they'll send us storyboards or briefs or examples or things like that. But then it's also fun to work with companies that are like, I'm going to give you guys 100% creative freedom, do what you do best. So it depends on the company, but a lot of these bigger brands that have established themes and established social media branding, they'll come to us with themes, colors, fonts. Yeah.
But I'm curious. Go ahead.
As far as Cushy CBD, I'm not sure what they had asked for. That was a client before I was with Results.
I'm always curious with new, I mean, because I think a lot of the creative direction is where you guys have such strength and obvious capabilities from small scale to scalability with larger companies. The direction on who to target and type of photos is always where I wouldn't be able to come to somebody like you and say, okay, this is what I want. I'd walk in and say, and I know that most people are probably the same in that they know what they don't want, but they aren't able to articulate what they do want. So it really depends on an organization like yours and marketing creatives and media creatives that have this eye to say, I can hear what you're saying, or I can, piece together, show up to a meeting, Kamden, please, so that you get an idea of what I do. That's what we did, right? You and I spoke, and then you came to our association meeting, and just kind of to get a good feel for what we're anticipating and what we're doing, right? But I wouldn't be able to tell you the image and the design. I rely on companies like yours and Dave Cletus and Rick and other people that are good at that. So this is if you're looking to scale a company, I mean, we've said multiple times, companies that don't have a lot of money, your branding and your story and your image is extremely important. And so putting your money into and partnering with companies that have proven success is worth your money. It sets yourself up, right? If you're making mistakes, and I know we even did this in our setup of our social media, just in the words we use, bans us from being able to market. And so being able to work with a company like yours that even understands in our imagery, what sets us up for success long term, and what design are we looking for to sell to the audience we're trying to connect with. And we're not all experts in everything. So I like the idea of partnering. I like the idea of pushing business over. So however we can support you, I'm all about it. And anybody that needs or wants to get in touch with Kamden, don't hesitate to reach out. I added his contact information. It's at the bottom of the screen. And then Kamden, for you as well, feel free to use any of this film as much as you want or can without me or us interrupting you. Chop it up and share it with us.
Sounds good.
I love it.
You can find us at resultsimagery.com. You'll see our portfolio on there, as well as some brands that we work with. If you want to reach out, there's a contact us little piece on the page there. Hit that, and that'll come directly to me. So
excellent. Well, I'd love to share some more stuff also. If you want to send me over a couple of links, I know we get asked all of the time. I'd love to share it with some of our team. But just an idea of what sets you guys apart. Like you said, we shop with our eyes, and I'd love to see some of your motion stop videos. What are those called?
Yeah, stop motion.
Stop motion videos. Yeah, I love that stuff. I think video I think is even more successful, like short clips of video on LinkedIn and Instagram and things like that have been so successful. So they tell a quick story. It's fun. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I'm excited to chat again. Stay in touch. And again, if there's anything we can do, let me know.
Sounds good.
Tell your
family. We appreciate you, Kamden. Thank you. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for all the listeners today for joining and commenting and sharing this day with us.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys Monday.
Thanks for having me
on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.